Hello, this is David with Ag Economic Insights. Today we're talking about the Ag Forecast Network question of the week. And this week we're actually going to dive into three questions. It's getting towards the end of June. And of course, if it's the end of June, then we're talking about the June acreage report. This is an important report as it gives us an update as to how farmers actually got the crop planted relative to those March planting intentions. And so it's a big update here on how those WASD balance sheets will begin to play out. Again, we've shifted gears here. We're in the production side of the growing season, and this acreage report will give us a good update as to what's going on. So we've been thinking about acreage and production for several months now within the forecast network. And we've been looking at corn, soybean, and wheat acres. Let's talk about corn acres first. What's the probability of the U.S. planting more than 97 million acres here in 2020 per that USDA report? And we've been asking this question going back into October. I've been slowly settling my forecast down over time. I'm at a 29%. I've been more I've been putting a higher probability of this occurring than the consensus. We recently wrote an article, you should check that out. And 97 million is about where that March planning intentions report is. If you look back at history, there's about a 50% chance of the final number, final acreage number coming in above March, and a 50% chance of it coming in below those March estimates. Of course, the price ratio has shifted towards soybeans favor. And so I think we're going to come off that mark, but I'm hedging my bet a little bit, and we'll see how that plays out. Soybean acres, the question is, will we get above 87.5 million acres in this report? Again, I'm contrary here to the consensus. The consensus is about a 50% chance of this happening. I'm much lower at a 50% chance. Again, we've been looking at this question for quite a bit of time, and there's this growing consensus, especially if you look at it around 50%, and right now we're sticking around that consensus here. Finally, we're going to talk about wheat acres. Not very popular from it's usually not a topic that people pay a lot of attention to, but wheat, of course, has been the big driver of the acreage debate over the last 10 years. We've seen corn and soybean acres, combined acres, trend higher, and this has been a big part of that, declining wheat acres. So, what's the probability of U.S. Wheat acres being less than 45 million acres of wheat? I'm here in the middle at about a 46% chance. I'm at the 50-50. The consensus has been under and over. And of course, winter wheat acres, we have a report back on that back in January. We had a question about that that's been resolved and scored. And we also have spring wheat acres to keep in mind. And so we need to keep that in mind. So here next week, we're going to have a lot of questions resolved. Thinking about this corn production, 97 million acres on corn, 87.5 million, getting above that number for soybeans. Again, there's been a lot of debate and a lot of discussion about this idea of trading corn acres for soybeans. You should really check out the article that we put together looking at these potential acreage shifts. When we took a look at it, it definitely stuck out to us that we have to be very careful with this assumption that we're going to swap corn acres for soybean acres, especially in the last 10 years. That's a hard argument to see play out in the data. It happens, but definitely not as frequently as we might think. Again, I'm David with the Ag Forecasts Network. Question of the week. Get in there, update your forecasts. I'm definitely not where the consensus is here, so we'll see how this plays out. You can get in there, update your forecast, or get started with a forecast on this question and score some good points on me, as I might be surprised and wrong to a pretty strong degree here. So a lot of uncertainty about the acreage question here in 2020, and we'll see how this gets resolved. Catch you next time. Thanks.